They're very careful about what they say. But deep down there's a great disquiet in all of our people about the radical and manifest changes that are happening. They look around them and they think, what's it going to be like in 50 years? In 100 years? In 150 years? Are we to be reduced to a third of the population? To 20% in 180 years' time? What will happen to our culture then? When we have to play the minority game, that if anyone makes the slightest tangential criticism of us, we stick up our hand and say they're incorrect, we want redress and this sort of thing. We have to play all those games in our own country that's ours, now and in the past and into the future. But what people have to do is when elections come around, because Liberals are in love with elections, not in love with referendums because they might be defeated, but they're in love with elections. Local, provincial, semi-national within the United Kingdom, European. London elections are coming up soon. I have a vote in London. And I shan't be voting for Ken Livingstone. Ken Livingstone is a radical version of in the state capital, admittedly, of everything that's wrong with this society. And yet, hundreds of thousands of white working class people and others in London have voted for him in the 80s and afterwards. I once got in a taxi with a bloke, you know, the ubiquitous London taxi driver and his opinions. And I just listened to him talk. And I said, whom are you going to vote for? This was way back in the first year of the elections, when Livingstone was standing against Labour. Do you remember? When Blair said he'll be a disaster for London. The other day, didn't I see Brown and Livingstone embracing on the steps of number 10 Downing Street? And they hated each other and loathed each other for years. And it's been an open secret in new and old Labour. But they embrace, and they're embracing because they're worried. When he stood for the first GLA, Labour activists wouldn't put Livingstone's leaflets out. He used Trotskyist groups in London, Trotskyist groups, to put out these leaflets. Now he's an official Labour candidate, but he's been Mayor of London 12, maybe 16 years, if you add up all that time. And what's he done during that time? He's progressively destroyed London as our capital city. It's become a sink. It's become what it is now. And he said he was going to do it from the very beginning. When asked in the early 80s what his agenda was, he said radical racial equality, radical sexual equality, radical rights for sexual and other minorities. Straight out. No messing. He's not New Labour. He says the opposite of what he means and then even steps back from that. He gives it to you straight. In a way. He was asked about political correctness, and he said, I'm all in favour of it. And they said, well, what about Bar Black Sheep, and what about banning children's nursery rhymes? He said, look, that's garbage invented by the Tory press. I want to impose total means totalitarian, I want to impose totally left-wing views on the citizens of London. This is the bloke from his own mouth, telling you exactly what he intends. Inside the Metropolitan Police, there is a black officers' union, there is an Asian officers' union, there is a Muslim officers' union, and yes there's a homosexual and transsexual officers' union. But there isn't a white officers' union except the General Police Federation, which is said to be overarching and includes ourselves, and therefore it's all right. This is the type of city that he's created. The canteen culture of the Metropolitan Police was once what you saw on the Sweeney when I was a child. Not any longer. Not any longer. You've got progressive policemen who are terrified of doing anything. In city districts that increasingly they're outnumbered in 10 to 1, particularly south of the river. This is what has happened to our capital city under the watch of these sorts of people. And that is why Essex man is voting for the British National Party, because they are the people and they are the descendants of the people who've moved out of our capital. And for our capital, read every other city, including Birmingham. Places like Handsworth are 97%, 98%, 99% in inner Birmingham, non-white. They've all gone. They've gone to King's Standing, they've gone to Perry Bar, they've gone to Erdington, they've got out to these other areas. Why have they gone? Because they don't want to remain. That's why. They've been passively and semi-democratically, ethnically cleansed. That's what's happened. In the amongst Brummagem people in the middle of our country, in the middle of England, They talk about some of these districts in the centre of Birmingham, the centre of Wolverhampton, as the occupied territories. The occupied territories. It's a term Palestinians use, but this is a term that English people are using about their own cities. But something can be done, and what can be done is politics. Nothing will be done in relation to the problems which Enoch Powell identified and that extend well beyond race and immigration, to the family, to law, to disorder, to the indiscipline in our schools, to the fact that a large part of our people are so undereducated now, they know nothing about this country, they know little about its past, they don't even know who they are. And that's why they're fodder for the liberal elite. So in all areas, there needs to be a change. And the change comes through leafleting, and through canvassing, and through speaking, and through writing, and through broadcasting, and through raising money, and through giving money, and through bequests, and through standing as a candidate. You don't have to go to war anymore, but these are the things you have to do if we are to revive as a people. I met Enoch Powell once, about 4 years before his death. He's still the same, still dapper, still extraordinarily short. He was about 5'4". The television always used to magnify his appearance. He used to stand on a box in a meeting to make himself more powerful, if you like. But he didn't really mean to do that. Because as I looked at that cover of History Today, I saw somebody of immense power and vigour who was totally English and totally British and proud to be so. As I am proud to be so, as you are proud to be so. And not only will we be proud again, not only will we be dominant again in our own island and in our own territory and our own nationalities, we can rebuild this society again. We can go forward together again. Britain can be great again. But we have to make it happen ourselves and in our own lives. Even at the level of the individual, when people make liberal remarks to you, you don't need to engage in some great row, but you say, no, I don't agree. What? You're not one of them, are you? You know, you don't agree with what has happened to this country. And I ask you to leaflet, to raise money, to canvass, to vote. Increasingly in proportionate elections in cities and beyond, there will be a chance to vote for radical right-wing organisations, not UKIP, to the right of the Tories, bringing forward the mass sentiment of all of our people of any nationality within the United Kingdom that is indigenous, that is proud, that knows what it is and knows what it wants for its children and its grandchildren. I ask you to work for this party, to vote for this party, to raise funds for this party, and to remember that England and Manchester and the northwest of England will go on together with us forever and ever. Thank you very much.